A dude that needs feminism. I think we both know this is going to be pretty interesting. What is going on, guys? Xerxes here. And it looks like I got another video response to Connor, or A Conman, I believe his username is.
So, I'm a dude, right? I'm a cis dude.
For those of you all who do not know what a cisgendered person is, it is basically an individual who was born with the correct body parts and identifies as the correct gender. Which I guess just basically means you were born a normal fucking person. So yeah, that's what cisgender means. It basically means you were born correctly. Social justice warriors, especially on Tumblr, like to use it a lot. Somehow it's actually became psychological vernacular. I guess cisgendered is a term that came to respond transgendered. Transgendered means you were born the opposite gender or sex, right? Or mentally. It's very confusing. I don't understand it completely myself. But that's what it means, just in case you guys don't know what cisgendered means. So, yeah. Let's keep going.
And I'm also a feminist. But wait, doesn't that mean you hate men? I don't know what that voice was. No, as a matter of fact, it doesn't mean that I hate men. I am a man, so that would be kind of silly.
Simply because you are said thing that you hate doesn't mean that you can't be self-loathing. I mean, there are plenty of young teenage girls that hate the skin on their bodies and cut themselves and do drugs and all that jazz because they are insecure and they don't like themselves. So truth be told, if you are a feminist and you hate men, you could technically hate yourself. It's not silly, it's just sad. But I will not paint you as that individual. I will not paint you as a person that is self-loathing, because I don't know you personally. But it is possible.
The definition of feminism that I work with, and most people who identify themselves as feminists work with, is the fight for the equality of the sexes. Yes, there is a very loud, very angry minority of people who claim the term, whose real goal is to just dethrone men and put women in the place, but that's the exact same problem. There's always a huge discussion over the definition of feminism, and I just think that's rather silly. Right, I think there are a lot more bigger, important issues at hand here. I don't really care about what you label yourself as or what you don't label yourself as.
You know, it's very peculiar that you bring something like that up. I mean, truth be told, if it doesn't matter what you label yourself as, then there's no real reason to wear the tag name of feminism. Because truth be told, the very word itself has a root in female problems or female supremacy, or focuses on female, feminism. Right? It just sounds like you just want to put women on top. It sounds like a religion that women are spectacular and awesome and can do no wrong and men suck. That's what a lot of feminist rhetoric sounds like. You cannot disclaim the loudest voices in your movements, okay? That you can't do it. I mean, truth be told, if you just want the equality, you just be an egalitarian, right? Except all feminists focus solely on the problems of women. That is the difference between a feminist and a true egalitarian. But I guess it doesn't really matter what you call yourself according to what you said, so let's just keep going.
So why do I, a dude, need feminism, right? I stand to benefit a lot from the current power structures of the genders, right?
Cui bono. I think I said that correctly. Cui bono, I think. Well, basically what it means is who benefits, right? And apparently, I don't think we've been living in the same world, because I do not think you benefit right now from the current power structure. I believe white women might benefit a lot from the current power structure. Once again, to talk about Sargon of the Akkad's video about a woman who attempted to murder a cop and got off scot-free, I don't think white men are really benefiting a lot. I think a lot of white men are in power, yeah. But when it comes to the social realm, women completely control it. So, I'm not even gonna lie, this whole white guilt thing I think would have been very, very helpful 200 years ago when white people were beating slaves halfway to death, or when they were forcing Native Americans to walk the Trail of Tears to the other side of the country. Nowadays, I don't know, white guilt is just laughable to me. It makes me laugh. I think it's freaking hilarious. So, let's move on.
So completely disregarding the small fact that women are also people, and
oftentimes I find it very strange when people feel the need to say women are people too. I mean, really, think about that statement. Women are people too. Duh. There's nothing telling in that freaking statement, women are people too. You make it sound like nobody knows that women are also people. Like women don't know that they're people. Like men don't know women are people. Men are people too. People are people. There is nothing telling in that statement. The same way water is water. Or water is H2O. I mean, but anyway, let's keep going.
Just general being a solid, decent human being. These are my selfish reasons for needing feminism. I need feminism because in a world governed by the current gender roles applied to men and women, I would not be very successful at that. If all of a sudden I found myself time traveled back into the 1950s, being married with 2 kids, having to provide for the family, having to make all the decisions completely for everyone in the house, oh god, I would not do well at that at all. I'm
not gonna lie, I kind of feel like this guy is selling himself short. I mean, if you had 2 children who looked up to you, 2 children that really needed you, and 2 human beings that you love, and your wife, I assume, because she's also people, remember? Don't forget that. But if you really did have this family to provide for, you would do anything and everything it takes to protect them and keep them safe. You know, I feel like people don't know what they will do unless they're put in that same situation. But I feel oftentimes, the way we men are, we are programmed to protect and provide. And that is just ingrained into us, right? And like I said, I feel like he's selling himself short. I don't think any man that loves his family is just going to be like, oh, well, fuck it, I'm not going to this coal mine. I mean, there are lots of men who worked in the coal mine that didn't want to do it, but did it to support their family. And among other things, when it comes down to it, you really don't make decisions all for yourself when you're the head of the household. A good leader is someone that makes decisions, the best decisions for everyone in that group, right? And of course, you'll still have your wife. I'm pretty sure she can help you out. I mean, you guys are partners. You guys work together. You go outside, you get the money. She stays home. She takes care of the kids in the house. It works out perfectly, traditionally speaking, at least. The system worked, obviously. If the system didn't work, we wouldn't be alive right now to talk about how oppressive it was. So let's keep listening.
Shy, I'm passive, I'm definitely not good at making decisions for other people. That would be bad news bears, the family would fall the freak apart. I work best in a relationship when the person that I'm with is my companion, when we're a team, making decisions together, as like a, yeah, go us sort of movement.
Except that's exactly what it was like. Well, okay, apparently he doesn't know what he's talking about. Let's keep going.
Kind of related to that, I need feminism because I'm not very good at being a traditional man.
Another shocker, right? That was surprising. That was... Okay, maybe I shouldn't laugh. I apologize for that. But that was kind of funny, actually.
I went to an all-guys high school. Yeah, and I spent most of my time in high school trying to be a better dude. I say try because I failed often, and sometimes I would slip and do something traditionally feminine, like sit with my legs crossed, or say something with a higher intonation in my voice, and did not end well from social status.
Of course it didn't. Why would it? You are a man, not a female. It is that simple. Among other things, he said something, he would cross his legs, right? So I talked to my sister about this the other day, and she said, you really have to put it in its context. About 30 or 40 years ago, what women most of the time wore were skirts. And when you sat down, you didn't want to sit with your legs open and have your business showing off everywhere, especially if you were going commando that day. So, ladies would cross their legs so people couldn't see their crotch. It's just, it's etiquette. It's perfect etiquette. So if a man crosses his legs, I mean, one, you squish your nuts in your pee-pee, so... Next thing he said is that he usually speaks with a higher intonation in his voice. And that is traditionally feminine. The testosterone in our bodies, you know, the way our voice boxes are created makes us have a deeper voice. I don't remember the exact science to explain it, but I could do some research. The point is, most of the time, our voices drop, our voices get deeper, our chests get bigger, the testosterone makes us stronger. It's that simple. So when you speak with the higher intonation in your voice, it actually, women register with higher intonations. Women register to higher pitches in people's voice. It helps them understand it or connect better to the person. This is why a lot of women hang around gay men. When gay men speak with a higher voice, they register with that. That's why they like having very effeminate male friends, very female-like friends. right? I forgot the science behind it, but you guys can do the research into it. You know, women register with higher frequencies of voices a lot more than men do. It helps them feel more comfortable. It's that simple, really. Well, actually, it's not simple, but that is why it is mostly effeminate. Women most of the time have higher pitched voices. I mean, these guys weren't wrong when they were like, this dude's acting like a female, because you were.
The goals of feminism succeed and everyone's allowed to exist as they are without any pressures from outside sources. Yeah, that's great, but that's good for me. Right, I can just straight up do heel clicks in the hallways without being accused of being gay every 5 seconds.
Dude, you can do heel clicks in the hallway if you'd like. If someone calls you gay and you're not gay, then so the bloody hell what? And you just need thicker skin. You don't need feminism for that. I think I said that in my "you don't need feminism" video, but really that's the case. And among other things, and I'm going to make a video response about this specifically, but I'll just say something very brief about it. I do not like how one of feminism's goals is to attempt to mess up the gender roles or the sex roles and try to make it seem like men and women are not inherently different, because we are.
That's pretty rad. I also don't have to worry about participating in the eternal pissing contest that is masculinity, because ironically, one of the most fragile things in human existence is traditional masculinity. You have all these dudes doing dude stuff together, all of a sudden one of them exhibits one iota, one shred of femininity, and all of a sudden he's a girl, or he's gay, or he's a pussy, or something like that. That's how it works. That's how stuff works.
Connor brings up a very interesting point here when he says the eternal pissing contest that is masculinity. Now, this only applies to men who are insecure. Manhood Academy would be a perfect, and I mean perfect. I mean, I need a cat and I'm going to pet it because they are a perfect example of exactly what Connor is talking about. Masculinity in and of itself is fantastic. But when you have pride in said masculinity, when your goal is to prove to everyone how you are a man, Manhood Academy for example, that is when it becomes a problem. That is when it becomes a double-edged sword, right? When you have pride in the fact that you are a man, which you should have pride, but not too much, not to the point of arrogance. That is when it becomes an issue and a problem. Once again, Manhood Academy is a great example of this. It's a group of guys that grew up without any fathers in their lives, so they're trying to search out what it is to be a man, so they kind of pander to each other and they suck up to each other. And it's really sad, you know? Lots of guys, especially out in the hood, you know, they listen to rap music and that's their image of what it means to be a man, and anyone that doesn't fit that apparently does not follow the rules or the guidelines that music taught them, you know. That's all that really is. It's insecure men trying to figure out what it means to be a man because they didn't have a father figure in their life. It doesn't mean masculinity is bad, it just means insecure men are. They are a huge problem in our society. Masculinity itself, though, is fantastic. The same way femininity in itself is fantastic. So, yeah, let's keep going.
At the end of the day, despite the name feminism, it's all the same fight. Women's rights and men's rights are the same thing. Same fight, same battle. The reason that I and most people who call themselves feminists are okay with the term feminism being used, despite its implied message that women should be above men, is because women have been the systematically oppressed gender between men and women. And that—
Really? The most important sex between the two of us have been the most oppressed? I do not think you know what the word oppressed means, okay? Native Americans, as a group, were oppressed. African Americans, as a group, were oppressed. The Jews, as a group, were oppressed. They were killed simply for being. Never in the history of the world has any woman ever been killed for being. It doesn't happen. I mean, honestly, think about that. Oppressed. Where in history can anyone point out to me where women were systematically murdered simply because they had vaginas? You can't find it. You never will be able to find it because women have never been oppressed. They especially aren't oppressed now. Especially not in this day and age, but I don't know. He drank the feminist Kool-Aid. So let's keep going.
That's not even taking into account trans people and anyone else who falls off the gender binary. You can call yourself a feminist, you can not call yourself a feminist, but at the end of the day, it's an important thing that we need to talk about. Because despite those silly reasons why I need feminism because everyone needs feminism.
I don't need feminism. That's it. That's my rebuttal. I do not need feminism. Nobody really needs feminism. Women especially don't need feminism. As I have said in most of my videos, women completely control the social sphere. If you want an example in this video in particular, think about the Ban Bossy campaign. You had a group of women trying to police a word. If that doesn't scream out control over the social sphere, I don't know what does. Or we can use slut shaming again. Women aren't oppressed. Women have a great deal of power. It may not be political power, but they definitely have power. They especially have sexual power. So when it comes to 2 out of the 3 things, they're gaining political power, they have social power, and they have sexual power. I don't really understand how they're oppressed, and I don't really understand how they could still need feminism when they have all of that power. But let's keep going.
Because when I drive home from work and I hear songs like Blurred Lines and Talk Dirty to Me, which make women out to be an object of a man's pleasure, we gotta talk about it. When one of those songs gets voted to be the #1 hit of 2013, we gotta talk about it.
I wonder if he had an issue with the song Scrubs. I'm just wondering, you know how a man can't talk to a woman or isn't worth a woman's attention because he doesn't measure up to her standards. I wonder if that bothers him just a smidge, just a little bit. Just wondering.
When I talk to female friends of mine all the time about how they're constantly harassed and valued for only their appearance over the internet and in person while walking down the street, we gotta talk about it.
You idiotic fool. You do understand that when you see a woman on the internet, you don't know anything about her, least what she looks like. If you see a woman on the street, the only thing you know about her is what she looks like. You don't know what kind of day she had. You don't know what kind of job she has. You don't know if she's a lesbian or if she's straight. You don't know if she likes guys who are muscular or if she likes guys who are skinny and nerdy. You don't know jack diddly squat about a woman except what they look like. You are trying to fight biology. That is a fight you will not win. You cannot get rid of that instinct, that reptilian instinct in a man's brain to tell him to scope out physical attractiveness, to scope out traits that will make a good baby. That's all attraction is. At the end of the day, attraction is simply finding traits in another person that will help your baby survive and be stronger or smarter. That's all it is. It's that simple. You're fighting against our basic instinctual urges. You will not win that battle. In fact, we need it. If you got rid of it, the human race would be thrown out of whack. So, let's hope you continue to lose that fight.
In this beautiful and imperfect world in which we live in, we have a lot of things we gotta talk about. There are a lot of people out there who say things like, we don't need feminism anymore because there are laws in place that make women equal to men. And yeah, that's true. We have come an incredibly long way, but we still have a real long way to go. And
yeah, like giving women harsher prison sentences for those laws that supposedly make us equal. Or by punishing the pedophilic teachers that seem to think it's okay to have sex with their 14-year-old boys. Right? And let me really think about that one for a second, guys. How is it that a grown woman can have sex with a little boy and everyone's like he deserves it? But if a grown man has sex with a 14-year-old girl, they're all like he's disgusting and perverted. Because the truth of the matter is, he is, the same way that woman is also disgusting and perverted. But we don't ever want to hear feminists talk about stuff like that now, do we? Of course not, because then they're not victims anymore.
Bottom line, just because it's a law, it doesn't mean it changes how people think. That change happens on an individual level, not on a systematic one. It starts on the individual level, then it branches out, and eventually systematic and important cultural change happens. And that's what we gotta fight for.
If that is your fight, then I want you to know, I will oppose you with every fiber of my being. If that's what you're fighting, in order to screw up gender roles, in order to get women into more power, in order to subjugate men, in order to make men hate themselves and be insecure, and to pander to these single ladies, guess what? You've made an enemy out of me. I will be your adversary. You can call me Optimus Prime because I will take you all on, okay?
Because it isn't just women's fight, it's everyone's fight, and everyone stands to benefit from a world in which everyone can exist as themselves, and for everyone else involved.
The funny thing about his final statement is that we do live in that world. Women and men can pursue whatever career choice they want to pursue. But this does not mean that society or individuals won't have an opinion on it. A woman can go out and ride the cock carousel. It does not mean that people are going to accept her decision and say that it's perfectly fine. She can physically do it. She's not going to get stoned for it. But there's always repercussions for your decisions. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. But that's the world we live in. We need repercussions. Alright? Stop trying to make it seem like every career choice is okay. Because honestly, it's not. Well guys, that's it for this video. So if you like this video, please go ahead and click that like button. Excuse me, I burped. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below, and as always, have a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon.